some of the things we've done over our career, it's like, it moves things by degrees, or you wonder, like, how much impact, you're always questioning the totality of the impact. But this was one that just was like such a clear metric of value that we were just like, I feel so honored to have been right place, right time, to have been a part of it, the right strategy. But what happened was in 2011, I moved to Australia, and I've been working for Jess, and my husband, who's from Australia, we had an opportunity for his work to move there. And we moved to Australia, and I got solicited to come run a concert because they'd heard that I put on these charity concerts because I'd done a few by then. And they said, "Can you come put on this benefit concert on the eve of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting?" Like, it's the Commonwealth dignitary meeting. So all these prime ministers, presidents of the Commonwealth, including the Queen of England, were converging in Perth, Australia in October of 2011. And they called me and they said, "Hey, yeah, we want you to put on this concert." It was 4 months away. Well, music festivals and concerts, like, they need a year's runway usually, right? And I said, 4 months away, like, tell me you have like an awesomely huge production team, and like, how big is your nonprofit? They're like, "There's six of us." And I said, "Oh my gosh." And like, my heart started palpitating. I was like, "Please tell me you have a lot of money." "Oh no, we have no money. We need you to like raise the money too." And I was like, about to hang up on him, just like, this is absolutely ludicrous and reckless. Like, who are you? And they shared, the gentleman on the phone was a guy named Michael Sheldrick. He goes by Mick, like Mick Dundee from Australia, and so charming. But Mick, who's one of the co-founders of Global Citizen, at the time they were called the Global Poverty Project, and he was 24 years old. He was our policy expert. He was a law student at Perth University. And he said, "No, no, let me tell you our strategy." And he explained, I can't take any credit for the geniuses of this. They were the ones who first introduced this idea to me. They said, "Look, polio is something in the nonprofit sector that's like a low hanging fruit. It's like something that we can cross off, and, because vaccines, a dollar for vaccination, it's an infectious disease, which our world now knows a lot about thanks to COVID. But, before, back in 2011, polio was just like a thing of the past. Everyone's eradicated in the first world, but it was 99% eradicated, and it was still infectious in 4 countries. It was endemic in India, Pakistan, Nigeria, and Afghanistan. And we all know that infectious disease, if left unattended, can actually grow and come back, right? And so vaccines were an important part to like actually eradicate it. And other than smallpox, humans have never done that. And so they said, "We think this is a thing we can have a big win in the nonprofit sector, and like celebrate, and then have resources go to other things." And they said, "We've been trying to get the Prime Minister of Australia for the last 25 years with Bill Gates and UN give out of the foreign aid budget to polio, but they won't, because it's not something that's like a major agenda, because it's eradicated in Australia. So it's not their problem." But we really think we could if we showed enough constituency support. At the end of the day, as jaded as we get about our political system, if you live in any form of a democracy, the voters are the employers of the politician, right? And so they said, if we can just showcase through a campaign that enough voters want her to give out the foreign aid budget for polio, she'll do it, and we can create great optics. So we're putting the concert on, and instead of relying upon ticket sales, merchandise, sponsorship, donations, everything that I'd ever done in the past with Child Rescue or others, where there's like, maybe $1 million is the most success in a fundraising event. I mean, maybe 2 million if you're in the top 1 percentile, but it's like really hard to raise. It's usually hundreds of thousands of dollars you raise in profit on a live event. Um, Ultimately, their idea was, no, 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 we're going to give the tickets away for free. We're going to gamify it, where people have to sign a petition to win the concert tickets, incentivizing this demonstration of voter support. And my mind was blown. I was like, this is the most insanely cool, disruptive idea. And at the core of it, to kind of like jump right into character, I think leaders who can see that if you get behind others, they will get behind you. If you're other centric in your approach, something Justice taught me so much about over the years, and Dan, you have too, despite knowing you and being around you, like, you're just for other people. It just innately, naturally, with the people worthy of relationship who want to help you. And so it was kind of, we'll get behind the voters, so, provide something of value for them, and then they'll get behind us. And as a result, we'll have this outcome. And so I jumped and like filled our parachute on the way down. And so in 4 months, it was like a big miracle. And we were able to get Sumner Redstone, the chairman of Viacom, was this billionaire, to underwrite the whole thing, because he thought the strategy was pretty smart. It's pretty neat how when you build something with solid enough, if like resources eventually come when people can believe in it, right? Sometimes it takes time, but when it's meaningful enough and it has enough there, people get behind it, right? And so he
Mhm.
was like, I'm it. He underwrote it. We launched this campaign. We had Hugh Jackman and Donna Karen and John Legend headline. We had all these celebrities involved and put on this concert, and we had 30,000 petitions signed in less than 5 days in Australia, which a country of, 30 million people was a significant demonstration of voter concern, which got us a meeting with the prime minister at the time was a woman named Julia Gillard. And Nick, our policy expert, had the most rehearsed pitch of his life and explained why polio and how we're going to make it look good. And come on, Hugh Jackman's involved, right? And we put on this concert, and following the press, there was a press conference the following morning from our concert, and she attended and she announced her funding commitment, which was matched by Bill Gates. Because what we did is we found four other charities who were victimized feeding back polio for 25 years: UNICEF, the World Health Organization,
Mhm.
Rotary International, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They were the people who were, the big dogs in this effort for a long time. And we were just kind of newbies, but we said all the money would go to them. That was revolutionary to have a nonprofit be like, I'm just here to raise money for you. I'm essentially like a PR engine or a fundraiser for
Yeah.
you. First, they were very skeptical of us and didn't want to partner. They literally said, "You're Johnny come lately. Polio's our thing." I mean, charities can be very parochial and scarcity mentality because it's, the disposable income of the public, and it's very difficult and challenging. There's not the decorum that you have in the private sector. Like, the gloves are off me, the best man wins. It's supposed to be about ending polio, but it's actually about their own jobs and overhead and their own credit a lot of the time. Not because they're bad people, just because of the structure. And it takes people of character to pull out and see that this is the structure. This is the dynamic, the demonizing of overhead, and all these things create this competitive nature. So how can I create value for everyone else so that we can have a win for polio? End of story, right? So we do this, and the following morning after our concert, the prime minister announces her funding commitment, which Bill Gates agreed to match dollar for dollar for a total of $118 million for polio. In
Wow.
our group of 6 employees, in a 4-month period, sitting there on the front row, I remember just thinking, well, I can never unlearn something that effective. So it was like, that was basically what I've done. I tripled down on this strategy the rest of my career in micro and macro ways we can talk about. But ultimately, it's like build something that creates uh, a rising tide concept for partners. Become a value creator, not a competitor in any market all the time, and just find ways that you can make others win and not distract from them. And it's kind of as our mentor Joe Ritchie would say, it's kind of a dumb smart solution, but it works so well.